My inspirational story for you this week has to do with a king a long time ago who placed a boulder in a roadway. And then he hid himself to see what people would do as they encountered the boulder. And while he was watching, he saw many people just kind of go around the boulder and just really not getting think much of it. Just okay, it's there in my way. It's an obstacle. Let me just go around it. And he watched some of the wealthiest merchants and couriers to do the same thing. And after a while, of course, while he was hiding, he heard comments that, oh, the king should keep his roadways cleaner. And he would just kind of chuckle about that. And then along comes this man who was he labeled as a peasant, and he was carrying fruits and vegetables. And the man saw the boulder in the middle of the road, so he stopped, put his fruits and vegetables down, and then he went over and with all his strength finally moved the boulder to the side, and he went back to pick up his fruits and vegetables. And on his way back, by the boulder, he looked down and he saw this pouch, and he opened it, and it had gold coins in it and a note. And the note said that this is for the person who moved the boulder from the roadway. And of course, that was a win win situation for him. So, how does that relate to what I'm going to talk to you about today? As first time authors, we don't get involved in details. We sometimes try to go around things and do things our way, or just we don't want to do some things. We just kind of at some point just feel like, I just want to get a book in the market. And from that point on, nothing else really matters. So today, what I want to talk to you about is that there are some things that do matter, and promoting does matter, because what ends up happening with most of us as first time authors, I know I made that mistake. I got into the market and I had no idea how to promote my book. So I want to welcome you to Clayton Communications Facebook online Facebook Thursday for book publishers, where we turn stories into books. And I am your host, Coach Blondie. Last week, I discussed how you could benefit from your first book idea. I discussed how to recoup your investment and also how to profit. Now, if you haven't seen that video, you might find it here on, on down below, and I would encourage you to perhaps look at that video, and because there was some great information there. So today I want to talk to you about promoting. How do you promote even before you have your physical book? And then when you have your physical book, how do you get noticed as an author? Here you're entering a market as an unknown. So how do you get noticed as an unknown in the marketplace? And that does require some details. It requires some work. You're going to have to dig in a little bit, put a little, uh, strength, put a little push behind yourself to get you to doing that. I remember publishing my first book. I had no clue how to promote, and of course, if you have no clue, and I was patient because I had learned to be patient in the process. But sometimes you're not patient. You just want to get it out there, and you don't understand that everything is about building and then establishing. And so my since that time, what I've learned, I teach. Okay, you have your book, you're ready to be physically published. So now what? What do we do now? And I called it building a platform, because I realized that I needed to do that. And how did I realize that? It wasn't something that I knew, it was something that I learned along the way. And in simple terms of building a platform, it's like, okay, what do you have that you're taking into the market? And what can you do to help solve people's problems as you take what you have into the market? You want to bring your message of your published book to the public. And so, but how are you going to bring it to them? What are you going to say to them? What do you want to draw their attention to as you enter into the marketplace? Now, when Joyce Myers began to come on the scene, she became very visible because she had something to say. She was speaking the heart of the women, and her books did the same thing. So women gravitated to her message because she spoke their secrets, the secrets of their heart. She spoke what they had never been able to say. She was giving voice to their brokenness, and they just gravitated to it. And of course, her book started to, as she started to publish more and more books, they were speaking to it. And so that catapulted her into success. In my case, I was targeting women who had been abused as children. And in sharing my story, many women began to break the silence. They began to embrace their own freedom and know that as I broke my silence, that they too could break their silence. So, depending upon what type of book that you are writing or that you wrote, you can call yourself a life coach, you can call yourself a health coach, you can call yourself a spiritual coach, you can call yourself a motivational speaker, you can call yourself a speaker. It all depends on how you want to enter the marketplace and how you want to be known in that marketplace as the expert in whatever it is that you choose to go into the market with. And so I'm just kind of giving you some things to think about, and once you figure out what you want to do, then what you want to do is create a written plan. And I say written because you want to be able to go back and measure, say, I did this and I did that. I did this and it worked. And I got some response from this. I did that and I got some response from that. Or at least to know that you are taking action. And action is moving you closer to where to the success that you want. So now, and that plan might be what you are going to start with as a topic. Okay. Um, in my case, what I did is since I had learned how to publish my own book, I started doing workshops on how to write and publish your book. And as a part of doing the workshop, I would tell my story and people would buy my book because I was sharing my story of how I got to be able to publish my own book. And so you definitely want to have also a website with, and by this that time, or once the book is, you've gotten everything in place and it's ready to already, and it's either in the process of being printing, then you have the cover, so you can put that cover on your website. And I would say, as part of, some may say, well, you just put a blurb about what the book is about. I would say look for the benefits. What how is If you buy this book, what benefit are you going to get from the purchase of this book? So by then, now you have your website, you have your cover, and if you're going to do video, and some people may be shy about doing video, but if you're going to do video, it doesn't have to be that long. It can be 5 or 10 minutes, like what I'm doing here today. I'm probably only going to do about 10 minutes. And you decide how often you want to share. You do a video. You can do it once a week or twice a week. It really depends upon you. So, what am I doing here? What I'm doing is showing you how you begin the process to success, building that platform. As you build that platform, people hear what you have to say. Now you start building that following of people who are interested in what you have to say. And building that platform can be done a lot of different ways. You can have a Facebook page, you can have a Facebook business, or and you can be on any of the social medias, but you're still beginning to build that platform. And since we talked about who you know, and how they react to you, and these would be your buyers in the last video, I would suggest when you do your Facebook page, of course, you start inviting your family and friends because these are the people that are familiar with you. And then when after you set that page up and you've invited them to or be a friend on your page, you're starting to now build build your visibility and working on building your platform. And so now don't just let it be where you just talk about things that are irrelevant to your what your message is, then what you can do is make your postings related to what your message is. And there may be times that you might want to do, let's say, a live, or you may want to upload something where you're going to teach on something related to, again, your message, your platform. Okay. So if at first, let's say you might be shy, I mentioned that earlier, then you can, of course, record in whatever app you want to record in, and then you can just upload it on Facebook. It would be the same thing until you get used to being in front of the camera. And yes, it may seem slow at first. There are no overnight successes. It Success comes sometimes a little. It comes a little at a time. As you grow, as you learn, you grow, and you succeed at doing something. You can also look for other platforms to which you can post articles. You can take some excerpts from your book and revamp them into articles. And guess what happens? At the end of the article, you get to put who you are and where they can contact you, and you can even in some cases put the title of your book. So include that information, you get to include that information in that article. And one of the ones that I've been a member of for many, many years is authorsden.com. So you might want to check them out and see whether or not that would fit with what you want to do. What are some other ways to promote your book while waiting for it to be published? Well, you can do Facebook ads inexpensively, which is definitely, if you do that, you are going to need a website. And there are some free press release places that you can submit a press release announcing your book or announcing something that would be beneficial to that reader that might look at that press release, like issuewire.com or pr.com or fiverr.com. And Fiverr can assist you in writing press release, and they also can distribute for you. Okay, so you want to take advantage of as much free things that are coming at you as possible, because you are self-published. You don't have the bankroll that the bigger publishers have. Now, if you don't know how to write a press release, of course, you are now going to have to either hire somebody to write a press release for you. But the good news is that if you do hire someone, guess what? You can use that press release over and over again. Another thing that I started doing is I started my own radio show. And Blog Talk Radio was a good starting point for me. And you can do that. And you also can approach local radio stations. But I would say if you're going to approach them, it's not about, I've got a book and I'd like to be on your program. No, go in and look at what programs they have done in the past. See if you have anything that you can talk about based upon what their previous programming is. And if you do, now you can approach the host of that show and say, I can talk a little bit more, a little bit on this topic or that topic, and now you are bringing something of value to that radio station. Okay, so Blog Talk Radio is one choice. You can also do business cards if you like, with your book cover on the back, and you can hand them out. And if since my platform is more emotional and spiritual healing, what I do is, and so are my books, and what I tend to do with my business cards is I would, on the emotional and spiritual healing, I have on there, stop letting your past define you. And there's so much more that I would like to share with you, and I will as we go along. But that's all I have for now. Anyway, if you need help kickstarting your promotional plan, please send me an email at coach23blondie@gmail.com. And if anything that I've shared here, you have gained some information, insight, and it's been helpful for you, then please like and share it with your family and friends. And if you have any other publishing questions, feel free to email me. Coach Blondie, signing off. Keep the faith.